PHDJ podcast. Let's go. With your hosts, Mike Walter, owner of Elite Entertainment in New Jersey, and Joe Bunn, owner of Bunn DJ Company in North Carolina. Get ready to learn from two mobile DJ industry veterans with over 200 episodes under their belt. It's time for the PHDJ podcast.
Welcome, everybody, to the PHDJ podcast. My name is Mike.
Yes, it's Joe. We're back. Temporarily. What's up, everybody?
How you doing, Joe?
Good, brother. My man, Mike Walter, everybody. And who else?
And we have a special guest this week. And really the reason we are recording this is everyone knows him. He doesn't even need an introduction. Digital
really
Dave. Welcome, Dave.
It's
welcome,
okay.
welcome.
It's live radio.
That's right.
That's
It's
right.
live radio.
I don't know if you heard my introduction, but you are the reason we are doing this. Dave literally, like 20 minutes into the Grammys the other night, said, one-off Grammy recap this week. And Joe and I had not talked about it. I didn't even know if Joe was watching. So that's why we're recording this and why it will drop this week. So thank you, Dave.
Yeah, thanks, Dave. You're bringing us back. Last thing we did, Mike, was about maybe a week before Christmas?
Yeah, we did something the end of last year, kind of a 2022 recap. And we said maybe we would do quarterly. And Mitch Ross, by the way, also texted us Sunday night. But just timeline-wise, Dave was first. Mitch came in second. But Mitch was like, any chance we get a show this week? So, yes, Mitch, thank you for pushing us along. But,
yeah, man. Thanks
it.
for being on, Dave. And thanks, Mike, for agreeing to do this.
Yeah.
And, so just real quick, so Dave, I just talked to Mike off camera. Dave, are we seeing you in Las Vegas? I'm seeing Mike at the Mex show in a week or so.
So I am crazy enough. I am actually DJing a wedding there that weekend afterward. So that Saturday, I'm DJing a wedding in Vegas, and I was looking at like, oh, can I just come early? But I have a gig in Pittsburgh that Thursday, unfortunately. So
I got you.
So unfortunately I will not be there, and I will, I'm sure miss everybody and see all the videos and everybody
partying.
Having a good time and but yeah. So Mike, are you gonna be there?
I am. I'm not speaking, but I'm looking forward to attending. I'm flying in on Sunday, going home Thursday afternoon. So hopefully Joe and I can keep our streak going of dinners at shows that we're at.
Damn right we will. In fact, let's when we get off this, Mike, let's just go ahead and
let's put a pin in the calendar.
Yeah. Because I'll get, how we'll get just dragged sideways.
Yeah.
I promise we're going to get to the Grammy stuff. Two more things real quick, Dave. I don't talk to Mike or you as much as I should. So, Mike, the other thing that was one of the things. Let's get a dinner on the calendar. Okay, live on the air, sorta. I want to get you to commit to something at DJ Expo. Will you do that for me?
Oh, DJ X?
Yeah, DJ X.
Oh, of course.
Fantastic. Okay.
What? What did I just commit?
No, it's gonna be. So for the first time in years,
something, Mike. You just.
I mean, I'm not streaking through the room.
No.
Tell me what I just committed.
No
to.
nudity. Strictly helping and teaching DJs. So. For the first time in years, I will be speaking at DJX one day.
And I saw the email about the collaboration.
Yeah.
I was going to text you, but I knew this call was coming up. Congratulations on that.
Yeah, man.
That's awesome.
Those guys are, doing the same thing we all are, trying to help the DJ industry. And so Sean and Jim are actually on with me today at 1. We're doing an interview with them. But so let's just call it one day I'll be speaking, do a seminar like I haven't done in forever. And then the next day, I've got Jan, I Lockdown, and you, and then maybe one or two others, maybe Dave if he's coming up, just like a open, discussion panel type thing.
Oh, absolutely.
Kind of like Icon did last year, where he packed the room with the Avengers, like that. But no seminar before it, just us.
Right. I'm there. Totally,
my man.
Yeah.
So far, I have Mike Walter and Jan, I locked in. You heard it here first. All right, and then the last thing. Since Mike and I have talked, this was so out of left field, and I don't really think it wasn't text worthy.
You didn't see this coming.
I didn't see this coming. Michael Walter, as he's called on Amazon, has released Scribbling Thoughts and Poetry by Michael Walter. It's called "If I Heard My Name." Mike, walk us through this How did this come about?
I used to dabble in poetry many. I mean, back in my teens and 20s.
Okay.
And stopped. I basically stopped all creative writing as my career took off and I got busy and everything else. I mean, I wrote a novel back in the day that never got published. But so, I mean, I've always fancied myself a writer.
Yeah.
And just a couple of years ago, I bought a book of poetry and I was reading on the beach and it blew me away. And I credit it in the book, by the way, if you want to pick up my book and then that book. And it blew me away. And I just started writing poetry again and basically wrote on the notes in my phone. Every once in a while, I'd get an idea and write a poem. And a couple of weeks ago, I was just like, you know what? Fuck it. I've got 70 poems in here. Let's just put them together. And I know how easy it is on Kindle Direct to self-publish something. So I self-published it. It's I don't expect to make any more than $50 off of it. So if anybody wants to hop on Amazon and pick up a copy, I think, what do I have it listed as? $12.99. So it's not going to break your bank.
No.
But yeah, if you have any interest in
$12.99 if
poetry whatsoever, and my rambling thoughts, I'd appreciate you picking up a copy. But
super cool, dude.
It's not going to help your DJ career at all. So let's just be
not
clear
that.
about
It's not that. It's not that, dude. It's super cool though, man. I think a creative is a creative in whatever fashion it may be, and it's just as a side note to see it passed on to my son who has no interest in being a DJ, but is literally a fashion designer now, and has gotten into 3 of the top fashion design schools in the country. They've all given him scholarships. It's just weird how a creative is just a creative, you know what I mean? And he's smart, which I think makes him even more desirable to these schools, to get him in there. So anyway,
absolutely,
I'm super proud of him. All right. Any other housekeeping?
Before we go, anything new with you, Dave? You're our guest. We should,
exactly.
Include you. Anything new on your end?
The busiest DJ in the world.
Exactly.
No, I mean, I'm just doing it's basketball season for me now, so I'm doing University of Pittsburgh college basketball, which we actually. Oh, yes. Joe, I wasn't even going to bring up the fact that we beat UNC twice this year until you started sighing. And then now I was just going to talk about how we were number 1 now in the ACC after our win last night. So, and it was a very surprise season for us. I mean, we didn't have any crazy off-season
the season you're having is the season we were supposed to have. Put it that way. That was the season we were supposed to have that everybody predicted, the Tar Heels are coming back. No, they're not it. Anyway, congratulations, man.
But yeah, so we've been having, and it's so much fun. When I DJ basketball games, I'm literally courtside. I'm right behind the opponent's bench. And it's so much fun when we have a winning season because there's so many students there and the arena is loud and it's fun. And when you're having a so-so season, it's not as fun, and you're trying to create energy that
it's not there.
Right, exactly. So yeah, that's been a fun season, and just kind of semi off season, with weddings. I mean, I have about 1 a month at this point of the year, but a little bit off season of that. The next conference I believe I'm going to be at is going to be. I did want to ask you guys, either or both of you going to be at Midwest DJs?
Yes, I will.
I won't be there. Mike will. All right.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm speaking again. I'm doing
something new.
The customer service seminar that I did in Atlantic City last year.
Yeah,
I think I have 15 fewer minutes, so it's a version of that, but it'll be a little truncated.
They keep every time you go to a new conference, Mike,
I get less and less time. Should I take that personally?
we want you here,
but just I know that was.
Did you watch that video back?
That was a sprint. I did. I thought I did a pretty good job.
Oh, you were so good, man.
Yeah.
Dave, if you haven't, I put Mike's video from DJC in the vault, but I'll text you the link. It's really good. I had to kind of piece it together because some of the content was missing, but I think we did a good job editing it.
Yeah.
It was really good.
Yeah, I'd like to check it out. I mean, I was there, for it, but I would definitely like to check it out. But yeah, me and it's nothing's public yet, but me and Rich from Midwest have been kind of talking about a workshop, doing a workshop there that's really nothing education wise that I feel like's been done. And it was kind of his his idea, but it was his idea from kind of hearing my talk there last year. So if this comes to fruition, I think it's going to be cool and unique and interesting. So
yeah, cool.
I hope it comes to fruition because I will be there, and I will definitely. I never miss the opportunity to hear you speak.
May?
So
when is that again?
That's end of April.
So end of April, and Mike, and we'll definitely go out to dinner. Last year we went out with Nick Spinelli. It was the three of us.
Oh, that's right. I remember. Yeah,
I can't imagine.
Yeah, remember the walk over? It was freezing. It was. Yeah, I remember that.
Who talked the most out of that three? who got the most words?
I think it was even. I think it was even. It was a pretty even conversation wise.
I got you.
Yeah. Nick had emceed all week, so I think he was maybe a little fried from all that.
Got you.
Yeah. All right, so let's talk Grammys. Let's start with, I know everybody says nobody watches award shows anymore, but there were 12.4 million viewers on Sunday night, which, just to put it in perspective, that's World Series numbers, it's NBA Finals numbers. So it's certainly not what the Super Bowl is going to get this weekend, but any sitcom would kill for 12.5 million viewers. So it's not like nobody watches it. It's not like it used to be maybe 25 years ago, but nothing on TV is. So Dave, you had a gig Sunday night, but watched it on tape delay, as they say.
Yes. So I was at the Flats where I am every Sunday. We had it on. It was on the TVs there with no volume, so I could see what was going on. And then I recorded it on my YouTube TV, and then I actually watched half of it Monday night and half of it last night because it was so incredible, and I enjoyed it, but it was so incredibly long this year. I think it was the longest I've ever seen.
3.5 hours. Yeah. I mean, but they say it's 3.5 hours going into it. At least the Oscars promotes itself as a 3-hour show, and then they go 3.5 hours. So at least the Grammys said we're going to be 3.5 hours. And you're right. It was I did the same thing. I was drifting off Sunday night, so I recorded the rest of it, and I watched the end of it Monday morning. Joe, did you watch the whole thing live?
I did. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I just, I was just kind of watched half of it downstairs and went up and laid down in the bed and watched the rest of it. I just, you want to see those last three awards. I guess if I had committed that long, I was like, let's just see the last three big awards and what happens here.
Right. So let's start with the what I think we would all agree was the highlight of the night was the hip hop tribute. Would we all agree? Anybody want to disagree with that?
No.
I would not disagree with that.
No question.
So, I want to watch. I haven't yet, but I want to go back and watch that a second time.
1,000%.
And it was going so fast that I'm sure there's like stuff I didn't catch. And
I knew everybody, and I was kind of gonna make a snarky comment under Mike's because Mike had gotten the set list from somewhere, the internet.
Yeah, I took screenshots from the next day and put them up.
And I was like,
and I'll be honest with you, Joe.
You didn't.
I knew maybe 2/3. There was probably a third, but I mean, keep in mind, I'm an old white guy. Hip hop is not exactly my forte. It's not my my strength, if you will.
Yeah,
but I knew 2/3.
So again, I mean, I'm not bringing up age. It is kind of generational. I mean, you and I are 6 years apart, 5 years. I'm 51.
I'm going to be 57 in April. So
okay,
yeah,
so
we're 6 years apart.
6 years apart.
Yeah,
and then Dave is 40. Something?
I'm 43.
Okay, so he's 40.
But also, Mike, you are literally in near view of the epicenter and origin of hip hop.
Right.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. But I mean, as hip hop was coming of age in the 80s, I was going to Prince concerts every year and stuff like that. So yeah, I mean, again, if you want to sell me out, I'm fine with that.
No.
I recognize 2/3 of the artists.
That's why I revoked my statement. Like I typed it and then I was like, nah, that's.
And that's why I looked up the set list because I was like, when I watched it the second time, I'm like, I want to see who I missed.
Right.
I want to see the artists and listen, most of the artists that I missed were I would think a little bit more obscure.
Okay. Fair enough. Yeah. All right.
So I just want to put it in perspective a little bit.
Sure.
And this is something I looked up. I didn't know this right off the top of my head. LL Cool J, who started it and was kind of the MC, if you will, introduced it. In 1989, he was one of the rappers who boycotted the Grammys because that was the first year they gave a Best Rap Award, but they didn't televise it. If you know anything about the Grammys, they give out a bunch of awards before the actual telecast. Right. So they kind of threw a bone to hip hop, but they didn't televise it. And that pissed off a lot of the rappers who said, then we're not even going to show up. So look how far we've come in whatever number of years that is, 35 years. The fact that rappers were boycotting it. And now we got, what was it, a 15-minute segment?
Right. And I mean, LL's hosted it several times.
Yeah.
Sure. I want to say that first award, if I'm correct, went to Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince, I believe.
I think you're correct about that.
I believe they won the award.
That sounds right.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of those guys back then boycotted it. Slick Rick boycotted. I remember that.
Well, the Grammys have always been late to the table with that. I mean, you know, it's not just hip hop. I mean, Jethro Tull beat Metallica for the first ever heavy metal award. Yeah, that's right. Which, you know, I guess a flute is heavy metal, but
it was so bad.
Literally. But you know, and I was laughing because I saw this year that they just added an award for best alternative performance. This year, the Grammys.
2023.
I think they're a smidge late on that one.
Right.
So yeah, they always, you know, they're a little bit dinosaur-esque in a way. They definitely always take a little bit of time to catch up to things.
I was thinking the same thing.
You didn't, I want to say this to the listener, if you didn't watch the Grammys, if nothing else, I would imagine it's been uploaded to YouTube. I haven't checked, but I would imagine that the hip hop tribute, just watch that. I think it was a kind of a great recap of the last 50 years in that specific genre. And it was so good.
It was cool.
Yeah,
it really was.
And I really think watching it back, looking at the list, I mean, the only, and I had a few people mention this, especially because the show was in LA at the crypto.com worst named arena of all time.
Of course.
But you know, really the only glaring omission from it, I felt like was that there was nothing that was a G-Funk record, like no Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg. You know, I mean, the only LA artist was Ice-T, and he sang really more like a New Jack swing song. Honestly, a song that I would associate more with New York City, and Ice-T, almost because of his long-term time in Law and Order. I mean, he's almost now, in my mind, I associate him more with New York than I do with LA. But it was interesting. I don't know if either of you saw this, but Questlove from The Roots curated this whole performance.
Right.
And he actually talked about it on Twitter. He said, a lot of people have asked me, why isn't this person there? Why isn't that person there? And I guess, you know, some people turned him down. Some people were unavailable. Apparently, actually, Will Smith was supposed to be a part of it, which would be, I think, his first really big public, you know, appearance on an award show since the Academy Awards. And they are taping Bad Boys 4. And at the last minute, like the taping schedule with that conflicted. So Will Smith wasn't able to be there. And he said a lot of people turned them down. And I can't imagine that he didn't ask Dr. Dre, who was there for sure, and or Snoop. And he said some people turned him down, and he had to, you know, ask other people.
I read that Twitter kind of conversation or whatever from Questlove, and what I found interesting was that they determined or decided early on they weren't going to do any artists who have passed away, and that's why you didn't hear somebody doing Tupac or somebody doing Biggie or somebody doing DMX, and I thought that was an interesting decision. I can see why they thought about it but decided not to, but that was to me the sad omissions, sad just because these artists are gone long before their time, but the fact that you didn't hear any of those iconic artists from the 90s.
Good point.
But my the only other thing that I noticed was missing was there was nothing from and a few people commented on it, there was nothing from the 2010s, and you know, we kind of went from the 2000s to like present, and I don't know if people, you know, were asked and turn things down. I mean, like Drake, for instance, consistently boycotts the Grammys. I mean, he doesn't even enter his songs in anymore for awards. So, you know, maybe, you know, I don't know. They could have had Nicki Minaj, but I think there were people that were asked and just turned it down or couldn't do it. I mean, my two personal highlights were we're obviously, I never imagined I was going to get to hear Blow the Whistle by Too Short on the Grammys, but it happened.
I was like, Dave has to be going nuts right now.
I was so incredibly excited. And then also when Busta Rhymes did the "Look at Me Now" verse, like to see that in person, it was just like
the second time I watched it, I had the closed captioning, I had the subtitles on, and the subtitles just said they gave up. It was like, we have no clue.
They quit. They quit. They just
glitched. It glitched out.
Right.
Yeah,
I thought one of the highlights for me was watching Jay-Z's reaction to the whole thing. He was such it was such a fanboy moment while he was like looking at, he's such an icon, but he was watching people who he considers icons.
Sure.
And he wasn't just watching, he was so into it. And I thought it was really great.
It was well done, man.
Yeah.
They killed that. They killed that. Are we even going to talk about anything else?
So let me ask you this. Take that
notes?
out. I mean, I was going to ask what everyone's favorite performance was, but I figured that would be it. So let's exclude that one. Did you have a favorite performance other than the hip hop? Or was the show that bad?
I like.
Go ahead, Dave.
I mean, and I'm sitting here. I have the whole list up.
Right.
I liked the Bad Bunny. I mean, I'm kind of mixed on Bad Bunny. I don't. I like him. I don't love Bad Bunny. I like Bad Bunny.
Right.
For me, it was enjoyable to hear his songs performed live because so much, I mean, I've been playing reggaeton for, like since Gasolina came out, 20 years. And so much reggaeton after a while, it just sounds the same because it's the same beat, literally.
God, I was literally going to say that.
And so,
so
to hear it live, to hear that live energy with it, I actually enjoyed it. I mean, I liked the Higher Ground part of the Motown tribute. I'm not, to be honest, I love Motown, but I'm, I don't know. Those weren't some of my favorite Motown songs, personally.
Me either.
But Higher Ground, I love, and I love Chris Stapleton. I mean, I know he's not someone that we can really play in DJ music. But I love Chris Stapleton. I like that. I liked, I like Lizzo, About Damn Time. I mean, the special song really didn't do anything for me.
Why would you do that? Why would you go so? I mean, if you're gonna get all these accolades for this song, this record, play the song. Like, I don't even know what she played. Was it a variation of About Damn Time, or
it was like she kind of like sang it as she was walking out, like without a beat, like almost with a piano, and then she went into that special song.
No.
And I mean, honestly, listening to Bad Habit's a weird song, and that Bad Habit, ever since it's come out, I've just been like, what, this song's like so popular, but like I don't know what crowd even likes it. I see no, like, what point where can I play this song? But actually hearing it performed live was kind of cool. Like I wasn't mad at that song. And I loved the Jay-Z at the end of God Did. Seeing him do that 4-minute verse on that song live. I mean, I am not a DJ Khaled fan.
I hate that guy. Sorry.
But I mean, I find him very easy to hate because he just does nothing and gets credit for everything.
Yeah.
And it was interesting. I read an article yesterday on Uprocks that talked about, it's ironic after he didn't win any awards, him coming on at the end and, screaming, "We the best." And the article said, basically, the Grammys just actually told you weren't the best. And
that's a great point. I didn't even think of that.
Dave, let me ask you something before you skip past that. Are you 1,000%, watch it back, certain that Jay-Z was live? Watch the way he's holding the mic.
Are you talking about maybe he was lip syncing?
Or
that was
his vocal. I mean, that verse is insanely long. There's no melody. There's no chorus. I don't know that they've ever done it live. Now, granted, I know what you're going to say. Jay-Z writes off the top of his dome. Surely he can remember. The way he's holding the mic and the way they shot it was very weird to me. And again, I've only watched it once. I may be speaking out of the side of my mouth, but something was weird about the way the mic was straight.
Joe going for the conspiracy theory.
Something's weird about it. Watch it back.
The only thing I will say was toward the end, there was a few parts where the audio seemed to like dip and I couldn't hear him as much, which I was wondering if was him getting out of breath a little bit. But I will absolutely, I mean, I plan to watch not the whole Grammys again, but I do want to watch from the beginning and kind of watch my favorite parts a second time. But I was actually wondering at first if that performance was even like taped, quote unquote live or pre-taped, because Khaled, not that you couldn't run right outside, but it just seemed a little bit, you know.
I think it. Okay. Maybe that's what it was, and it was taped.
Yeah, that could have been it,
because it was outside. For those of you who have not watched,
they were all outside
on the street.
Yeah, they were on the street,
off the street,
and then they had a giant table with an insane amount of like food and these gold candelabras, and it was interesting. I like John Legend's part on that song. I mean, I love John Legend. I love Legend. That was cool, but so Mike, what were your favorite?
So I agree with you about Bad Bunny. I loved his opening of the show. I love the fact, I've heard people talk about, and it makes sense at these award shows, especially in the very beginning, you're playing to a nervous room. Everybody who is nominated for something is on the edge of their seats, hoping to win, hoping not to be embarrassed. And it's hard for comedians to get people to laugh. And I'm sure it's hard for music artists to get but he got it. I mean, he had everybody on their feet, dancing, having a good time. So I thought it was a great way to start the night with a party atmosphere. And then I loved the fact that they closed with a song. And I might not have been a big fan of the song specifically, but I think that's a great way to close the Grammys. And to me, it shows again the magic of music. When the Oscars are done, they can't close with a movie clip or a scene from a movie. When the Emmys are done, they can't close with a shot from a sitcom. It wouldn't make any sense. But at the Grammys, where we're celebrating music, it makes sense to give out the last award and then go, and now we're going to finish with song. And I just thought about that. I don't think they've ever done it before. If they have, then I'm wrong about that. But I hope they do it from now on. And make it a new song like that, make it something that wasn't nominated and either won or lost, but start by celebrating music and end by celebrating music. So to me,
I absolutely agree. I thought they did it more regularly. I could be wrong.
I could be wrong too. And maybe I'm guilty of, that was the last award, click. Bed. Right. Maybe it helped that I watched the ending the next morning where I wasn't so eager to get to bed. That could be.
Right. As long, and my feeling, I completely agree with you. As long as that song is not "I Sing the Body Electric," that is. I don't know if you guys remember.
I remember that reference
3 years ago.
Yes,
they did. That was the last song, and I was like,
"Wait, what?"
Yes,
I don't remember that.
Yeah,
what is this? Like, why are we watching this right now?
Yeah,
like that.
You're right, Dave, and that was a closing. So you're right. That was another time when the Grammys closed.
And I was just like, why are they, of all things, like, why are they doing this song?
Which is a song from Fame, if I remember correctly, right?
Correct. But I didn't. I'm going to be honest, and I watched Fame like in the 80s, but I didn't even remember that song. I was like, again.
I remember. I think I wrote on Facebook at the time, if you're going to close with a song from Fame, do Fame. Like that's the song from Fame to close.
Exactly. Like,
you want to get people dancing in the aisles. That's the one to end with.
I do believe. As I watch it year after year, I don't remember a year where I didn't watch it, put it that way. I do believe that there is some geriatric higher ups there. Like that's why it always seems to have this old feel to it sometimes. I mean, now Bad Bunny opening is obviously not applicable, but the very next act was that Motown tribute.
Brandy Carlisle was in between.
That didn't go. I know she was nominated. Yes, she's talented. That didn't go over.
Joe, you and I have talked about her and how I think her is popular at award shows, and that's pretty much because the only time I hear, And I think Brandi Carlile, for me anyway, has become the same thing. I don't think about Brandi Carlile,
Me neither.
But at these award shows, they celebrate her, and she becomes iconic.
Yeah.
But
she always pops up in those.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, so I looked up her songs because I agree. I even forget about her, and then the award shows come up.
Right.
And for me, I looked her up, and she never really had a song, even in a genre like we don't play as DJ. Like she never really had like super high charting songs. And what was interesting is most of her songs charted, like the highest place they ever charted on Billboard was on the adult contemporary charts, which are not, I mean, I didn't even realize those were still around. I mean, to me, that was such a big 80s thing with like Hall & Oates and Chicago
yacht
and
rock
stuff.
almost.
And it's like,
right.
And it's just like modern artists that are on the adult contemporary, because that was really what like a lot of these like soft rock radio stations played. Soft like radio in general, obviously, is not as important of a medium as it was, 20 years ago. It was just, I thought it was more rocking than I expected. I will say that.
I enjoyed the performance, but it didn't make me run out and download, her latest album or whatever it is.
Now, did you enjoy Harry Styles in Christmas Tinsel? I know you're.
Listen, I like Harry Styles, so I'm biased,
Styles.
but I thought the performance was great. He can wear whatever the fuck he wants.
He really
he's such a good looking guy. He almost fell off of that circular dance floor, which I think would have been quite a moment if he had.
So I that's all I was looking forward to. I'm like, put Styles on. When is Styles coming on? When is Styles on? When is Styles on? He comes on. He does his thing. And then I go, oh, that was okay, but something was weird. Sure enough, this morning, multiple dancers claim Harry Styles' Grammy performance had a major slip-up. For 10 fucking days, these kids practiced on a counterclockwise turning turntable. The thing was spinning. The show starts, it's going backwards.
No.
So he's pissed off. The dancers don't know where they're going. The entire thing was a shit show.
Wow.
Now, he hasn't come out and blasted anybody, but multiple dancers that were involved in that production have gone on Twitter and Facebook and been like, y'all, we've spent 10 days practicing these elaborate moves, and the thing is spinning.
How does
a
mistake like that happen?
Can you imagine?
They clicked the CDJ to reverse.
Right? Dude, I just read the article and
wow.
I was like,
I didn't see
something was weird. And then I thought he's selling it because the song is dark. Like I looked up the lyrics. It's not a happy go. Like if you read the lyrics to As It Was, it ain't happy. It's dark, really. And so I was like,
it's what they call lyrical dissonance.
There we go.
The sound of a
lyrically
song is
dissonant
different
song. And I'm like, he's selling it with the way his face is and way the performance is, because. And then this article comes out, and I go, well, that makes a lot more sense. They just absolutely screwed this kid.
Wow.
Yeah.
Joe, did you have any? I know from your text during the show that you did not love it, but other than the hip hop, were there any performances that you thought were
not really, man? Okay. And then I was happy to see. I don't like country, but I thought it was really cool. That guy Luke Combs from North Carolina.
Yeah.
He's from Boone. He went to App State. The bar owner where he used to play got up there and introduced him. That to me was.
He had to perform right after the hip hop tribute, though, right?
He did.
That's a hard
tough slot. That's when everybody's going to the bathroom.
Right.
But he sounded good, and I love the way the guy introduced him. I mean, he sounded like my dad, quite frankly. They're just North
Were there
Carolina
any performances that you thought missed, or would you just say all?
No, man. I mean, listen, I was vaguely entertained. I hate that the Styles thing went sideways. I hated that Lizzo didn't do, her hit record. No, man, the hip hop thing. I'll keep coming back to that, and I'm sure we're going to talk about these last three awards. That's when I had a visceral reaction.
Dave, any performances that you thought were just off?
I mean, not off. I mean, I didn't.
Right.
I'm a big Mary J. Blige fan, but I'm not. Ironically, you think it'd be the reverse. With age, I've become less of a ballad fan. So, I mean, that didn't really, I love Mary J, but that performance didn't really do it for me. I mean,
Kelly
to be
said
honest,
at one point, "What is she screaming about?" during that.
To be honest with you, I thought that I was expecting, and now to hear that from Joe, I was expecting more from Harry Styles. I was looking forward to that. But obviously that could definitely, kind of throw the whole thing off. I also heard he just came from performing like, a lot of nights in a row, which can, throw your voice off. I did think it was interesting. Not only, Mike, do you think Harry Styles can wear whatever he wants? It seems like Taylor Swift still feels that way, because it looked like she was kind of eyeing him up there when they were showing her watching him perform. And I will say, I did want to mention, I thought, for a somber moment, which is never, a great moment, I thought the In Memoriam was done well. I thought the Coal Miner's Daughter,
perfect.
Where Casey Musgraves was playing Loretta Lynn's
her
actual
guitar. Oh,
that was, I like that. And
cool.
And then to See You Again, with the tribute to Takeoff, I thought that was that was a cool moment. And the Songbird, the Christy McVie, I really thought that's obviously always going to be a somber and to some extent a downer moment. But I thought I like it better than when they used to just show the pictures and it would just be like symphonic music in the background. I like the way they did that. There was a few people that were omitted that, I guess people were bothered by. Apparently, Gangsta Boo, who was the female rapper from 3 6 Mafia, did not make the list. Also, Lil Keed, who is a modern rapper, did not make the list. And then Aaron Carter, actually the brother of Nick Carter, Aaron Carter actually didn't make the list. So I don't
know how that happens every year. It seems to happen at the Oscars, at the Grammy. You would think somebody would be going through the list thoroughly.
I guess they put a bigger list out before the show, and I think those artists were included on that bigger list. But I think they're just like, we only have so much time, so they're trying to pick, Although what was interesting to me was I noticed that they had that DJ Twitch from Ellen that passed away. I noticed they had his name on there, which, all respect to him and his family. And it is a tragedy that, he passed. But at the same time, he wasn't, from my research that I've done and what I understand, he wasn't even really an actual DJ. He was more pretending to DJ and did not produce music and was not a singer. I mean, I'd have rather seen someone who was an actual artist that with music releases in like even just his place. I guess maybe he's more relevant to society at the moment than some of these other people. But there's always, I feel like people feel like someone gets snubbed from that list.
That's a tough job to curate that list. But you the people you just named are I mean, I don't want to say iconic, but I mean the Aaron Carter thing, that was big. I mean, even Gangsta Boo, I know who that is. And
put it in perspective, there were some obscure names on that list. Like,
piano
I usually stay on top of stuff,
John
and there were some names where I was like, I've never heard of this person.
Neither.
I don't know who it is.
Right.
Not to say that they don't deserve.
There's always like studio musicians that make the list and stuff.
Let me. Can I go to 3 quick touch points before we skip to the Big 3 awards?
Okay.
All right. Okay. 1. And I'm a Coldplay fan. I've seen him play twice for 80,000 people. Number 1, what was he wearing? Somebody said he looked like a 5-year-old toddler named Ryder that goes to an expensive play school. 2.
Hold on one second. I just want to put that in perspective. Okay. Do you know he was on Saturday Night Live Saturday night?
No.
So Coldplay was on Saturday
Night. Outfit?
I think he might have been there. But if we're gonna give Harry Styles a pass, just keep in mind he went cross country in a day.
True.
So I'm not sticking up for the guy. I agree. Someone could have fashioned him a little bit better, but let's keep that in mind.
And 2, he doesn't look like Harry Styles. But my point was, literally had zero clue that they even had a record out last year. None. Now, I remember that BTS collaboration, but that it was an album called, and I started listening to it, of course, that night, and I was like, this is actually a pretty good record. No clue that the record even existed. 2, if you want to go back and see probably one of my favorite Grammy performances ever, in the worst time in most of our lives, Go back to 2020 when there was no people there. The way they opened that show, it was Harry Styles, Billie Eilish, Black Puma. What are they called? That group, that kind of alt rock band.
Was it Haim? Was it Haim?
Haim, and then Black Pumas, right?
Yeah.
Isn't that the name of the band,
Yep.
Dave?
I remember you and I did a show, right? Bro, and we raved about that opening.
That is premium Harry Styles, like in an all leather outfit, no shirt on underneath it. Absolutely slayed, and it goes live straight to Billie Eilish's set, straight to Haim, and then straight to the Black Pumas. In however many minutes that was, that's how the show opened live. And it was nobody was there, but they were all feeding off each other's sets. Like it was the coolest to me opening in the worst time in history. And then the final thing I'll say is the saddest part of the Grammys to me is it makes me realize how old I am. Madonna, what the fuck was going on?
Sad.
2, Sheryl Crow to me is always going to be, I want to soak up the sun, this cute little, and I was like, yo, look at her face. And I know that's not very nice to say, but like, she's old, like I am. Like, I don't look like I did when I was 20 either. I had hair and I was beautiful. Like, anyway.
I can't believe you put the two of them together. Sheryl Crow has aged so much better than Madonna.
Yeah, of course, because she hasn't gone.
It is night and day.
Because she hasn't gone to 9 different surgeons and gotten.
Okay, yeah,
I'm fine with that, but I'm just saying it just makes me realize
if we're going to be if we're going to be misogynistic and do the rating, how about
then I'm saying it wrong. Just the hair had me thrown.
Just the red hair.
Yeah, no. Listen, I'm all about aging gracefully.
I was like, is she dating Ronald McDonald or what?
I thought it was like Wednesday Addams' mom from the Addams Family at first.
But no, I agree with Madonna, and I think of all of the critiques of Madonna. I think the one that I found the most accurate was what is she in the new Saw movie? Because she did look a little jigsaw there.
Yeah, no.
Like, and listen, an artist like that makes an appearance at the Grammys. She has a tour coming up this year. This would be her opportunity to promote that, to remind everybody, oh yeah, that's Madonna. She's going. This is my last chance to see her. I don't think she sold one concert ticket.
Dude,
besides the look, she came across
on the
pissed
fence.
Off.
Yeah, I was on the fence. I said, I'm not going to this.
Right.
And then she did the not the Joe Biden thing, the Bush Jr. line at the end where she had to ask for applause. Yeah. This is where you
clap, or this. Yeah, horrible. Just horrible.
Yeah, I mean,
horrible.
But I'm so torn on this because I believe she's actually coming to Pittsburgh, which she rarely does. And I've always wanted to see Madonna.
Me too.
Never seen Madonna, and allegedly, the kind of theme of this tour is she's kind of going through, her entire exactly, as opposed to some of her more recent tours that have been more heavily based on her recent material, which I'm not as big of a fan of. And I love 80s Madonna, and I'm even cool with 90s Madonna. And I just,
but I can't picture the Madonna from Sunday Night doing those songs.
I can't either.
Doing Holiday and Into the Groove.
Dude, I'm not going. I'm not going. I'm
not
going.
I know you want to talk about the last 3 awards. Before we do that, your opinion, was Beyonce being late an actual thing, or was that a publicity thing? You think she was actually caught in traffic and late?
Once I realized she was not backstage getting ready for a performance, I think she was late, and I think it's just disrespectful and disgusting. I hate it. I hate it.
I don't know, because one, I've been in LA, I've driven in LA, I've seen LA traffic, but at the same time, I know that things like this have police escorts. I mean, when we have literally, I remember seeing them leave and actually come when we played the Raiders on Christmas Eve in Pittsburgh for the Steelers game. I mean, literally the Raiders tour bus comes and leaves Acrisure Stadium with a full police escort. Like, I cannot imagine that Jay-Z and Beyonce don't have a police escort.
You're a billionaire. Take a helicopter and land it on the roof. unacceptable. Sorry, unacceptable.
Yeah.
I don't care if you're a Beyonce fan, whatever they call themselves. No, it's not cool.
Well, the Bayhive. Well, I mean,
them.
It's
Sorry.
There was a lot about Beyonce. Kind of I guess obviously she set the record for all time most Grammys won.
To her.
But there was multiple, I guess, quote unquote Beyonce controversies outside that. There was the fact that she won the Best Dance Award for Break My Soul. And I don't know how much both of you are aware of this, but I've seen a lot of internet chatter about it. And apparently they submitted the award for that, or the song for that category, Break My Soul. They submitted it for Best Dance Music category. That there are, I guess, gatekeepers in each category that kind of decide, like, is this a dance record, And those gatekeepers unanimously said, no, this is a pop record. Put it in the pop side. And then, like, the higher up Grammy, I guess, someone higher up, a committee higher up than them said, oh, no, it can stay in the dance music category. So there were a lot of dance music people that were upset. Apparently, people think that Diplo, they showed him right after she won that award. People think that Diplo mouthed, she bought that. If you look back after she won the award,
I wondered what he said.
They mouthed that she bought that. So there was controversy over that, but then the pushback about that was people were, saying that, I mean, obviously that is a very Show Me Love inspired record, and it deserved that dance award. But
Dave, put a pause on that for 1 second, because I want to ask you specifically about that, because of the three of us, you're the one still in the nightclub world. I'm not, Joe. I don't think you are.
No, sir.
Jay-Z was quoted as saying, look at what it's done, speaking about her album. Look how the energy of the world moved. They play her whole album in the club. I don't know if I've ever seen that. The whole entire joint, like everything. Is that true?
So it's interesting, because I've really not played much of that at like a nightclub, like at a Cabo type place. And for those listening, for clarification, when I say nightclub, I mean a place where you have a light tech running the lights, and a place that you would envision like a smaller version of a Vegas nightclub, with all the production and stuff. I've played minimal of that album in there. Now I will play it at a place like Flats, where I play, which is more like a party bar type environment, but I really not, there's been a couple remixes. But what was interesting was Break My Soul. Cuff It has worked well, and I've loved Cuff It was my favorite song from the album when it first came out.
Same.
But Break My Soul was one of those where it came out in the summer, and it was allegedly a big record, and I kept playing it and playing it and playing it, and never really getting good reactions to it.
Same.
And it is, the point that was made was, well, there are all these dance artists, there are people like Diplo, and Rufus the Soul that have dedicated, literally decades to putting out dance specific music. And Beyonce, who is, one of the greatest talents of our generation, did put out a very dance oriented album, but it's almost like, they feel like they're kind of being ripped off. And this was the first year that the Dance Music Award was presented on the stage. It literally has never been presented on it's one of those earlier in the day awards. And so, that was interesting. You wonder if that decision was made knowing that she was going to win that. And if she wasn't going to win that, or she didn't put out this album this year, that award may have still not been put out, put on the show to watch. So I don't know. I mean, I love the album, but I can definitely see, and it is very dance influenced, but I can definitely see where the upsetness is coming from the dance music community.
So is it controversial that Harry Styles won Album of the Year instead of her?
Well, and that was the final controversy about her, is that, a lot of people felt she should have won that award. I think that, I also saw some people saying that Bad Bunny should have won. Now, I don't have a problem with people making, having their own opinions on this. But I saw significant, even some people that talked about it in actual articles online, that there were racial comments made that they didn't feel that she lost to Harry Styles because she was a Black woman.
Oh,
and
then Harry Styles complicates things by saying in his speech, he was, thank you very much. Things like this don't usually happen to people like me. And that became an internet controversy because what do you mean? That's white privilege. Right. People like you, meaning a white male, win everything. How could you say that? So
right.
I thought it was much ado about nothing personally, but it's, we have to address it just because it is out there.
Right.
Yeah. I think that I heard the people like me comment. I think when you think people like me, I think a lot of people just think back to their childhood and growing up and think like I would never be here. I don't think he meant it the way it's being interpreted.
And let's also recognize the fact that we are three white males.
That's right.
Commenting on this.
Right.
So maybe we're not the right people to see it from a different perspective.
I just hate that something like this, finds its way into that.
Yeah, because it's subjective to me. It's all about art. Listen, if I had a vote, I listened to Beyonce's album 4 or 5 times last year. I listened to Harry's House, according to Spotify. That was my most listened to album of the year last year.
I love that record too.
Yeah,
right.
I couldn't get enough.
To me, I was happy with that win. Right. I get that the Beyonce fans are going to be upset. Bad Bunny fans, it's a weird thing to vote on music. It's like people ask me, "What's your favorite song? What's your favorite album?" I'm like, dude, no. That's like asking me to pick which is my favorite child. That's insane. Right. Like I'm not going to play this game.
Right. So I know
I got. Go ahead, finish.
We need to wrap up. We need to put a ball.
I got to hyper speed through the last of it. Go ahead, Dave. Was the last thing he was going to say?
Last thoughts.
Yeah. Well, no, I was just going to say though regarding this conversation that then record of the year, or is it record of the year or song of the year, the one that Lizzo won for About Damn Time. That at least when I was a kid, that was always considered like, even though it wasn't last, that was always considered the big award.
I totally agree.
And Lizzo beat ABBA, Adele, and Harry Styles, which is like the holy trinity of white people music for that award. So I think some of this, I'm not saying there could be an argument made that Beyonce got snubbed, but in my opinion, as an observer seeing, the way the show went out, I don't think it was a race thing. I would if it was, it's sad and that's tragic,
right? And
that should not be happening. But she's also been giving more awards than anyone ever by the Grammy. So I don't, I don't see, but everybody with those albums though, if you're a Harry Styles person, or if you're a Bad Bunny person, or if you're a Beyonce person, sometimes you don't understand the influence that the other album has with people in, other areas of the country, and different, everybody kind of has their own kind of world that they're living in. And sometimes we don't look at, the worlds outside of us. And kind of, the other think about what other people might like.
Listen, and it's obviously not based on strictly popularity. The Lizzo song,
Funny rate.
Right. That's where I'm going with this. Yeah. Like the Lizzo song, I'm fine with it. Listen, it is what it is. There is no way though that she should have gone up on that stage and not thanked TikTok or somebody in the internet world. Like that app. I'm telling you, you can deny it all you want. Go back and look at the chart history of that song from the time it came out to the time that dance came out. In the minute, when that dance hit TikTok, that reinvigorated her career, and she literally owes this second phase or third phase of her career to TikTok. Period.
Joe, I thought of you.
I loved her acceptance speech, though. I loved her acceptance.
She did fine. She did great, but she should have said, "Thank you, TikTok. You just saved my career."
Joe, I thought of you. You know when they kept going to the fan roundtable and talking about the Adele fan said Adele doesn't need a TikTok dance to have album of the year.
Oh, did she? I missed that. I think I was. I think I went and got a snack during that. Okay, now let's talk about.
I fast forwarded through all of that, and that was my biggest issue with it being near 4 hours. Is like, if you were using that to fill time because you needed it, fine. But if your award show's already 3 hours and 45 minutes, you don't need this.
You don't. Corny. Do not bring that back. Grammys if you listen to this. All right.
I do love the one thing I did have in my notes I didn't get to mention, and this started in 2020 or 2021 with the pandemic. I do love actually the table setups with all the artists that are nominated. I think that's
it's very
a lot
Golden
cooler
Globe
than them sitting in seats. I do,
and you don't have to walk up and down the aisle to go like talk to your industry friends and stuff.
Right, I do. I like that.
Super cool. All right, the record of the year. I can tell you, and again, watch it back. When they said Bonnie Raitt, the entire audience went silent.
I'm pretty sure that was
including Bonnie Raitt.
I think that was Song of the Year, but yes, you're right. I think Lizzo. I think Lizzo won for record. Anyway, it's a fine point.
Correct. Because I have it pulled up here. Song was Bonnie Raitt. Record was Lizzo.
So it's a beautiful song, but yeah, it was shocking. I figured they nominated just to kind of throw her a bone. She's an American icon.
Me too.
Yeah, it was pretty shocking.
The whole
that she won that.
25,000 people or whatever that arena holds, it goes quiet for a second, and then people are like, "Oh shit, we're supposed to be clapping!" Like, it's a full second of like.
And if you look at her face, she's like, "Wait, what? I thought I was here to participate in the memoriam tribute. I didn't think."
I had a visceral reaction to that. I was as mad as the Jethro Tull thing. I'm going to go that far. Randy and I went crazy. We were texting back and forth like, "This is Jethro Tull Part 2." It was that bad.
Well, I saw that on my when I was DJing. I saw it on the TVs, and I saw the way she was reacting, and I thought they'd given her some lifetime achievement award or something. I didn't think she'd won a current award. I mean, my thoughts on Song of the Year. I had two thoughts on that award. Number one. I can't believe that ABCDEFU was actually nominated for it.
Insane.
That's like. Really? And my second thought on that is that I would have loved to have seen, All Too Well is kind of considered Taylor Swift's magnum opus, and Taylor Swift is, arguably the most influential, biggest, artist of this century, if not, I mean, Drake and Beyonce, in my opinion, would be her only competition at this point. And All Too Well is kind of considered, her magnum opus, and I was surprised that didn't get the nod there.
All right,
Mike, what your thoughts on the song?
Can we just throw a little love to Lizzo for tipping the cap to Prince?
Sure.
And dedicating the award to Prince and talking about since his passing. I think that was wonderful. I wanted to get to a controversial topic, but we've run out of time. But I'm just going to throw this out into the ether. Lizzo was sat at the same table as Adele. Mm-hmm. Do you think at any point she looked across the table and said, Adele has very famously and almost controversially lost a ton of weight in the last few years. Do you think Lizzo at any point said to herself, I need to do that? I'm just going to throw that out there.
I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know this looking at her. I mean, I know she's still, on the heavier side, but I feel like it looks like Lizzo's lost some weight, and I could be incorrect, but like watching her kind of since she came up, it's interesting. And I mean, I'm not, the body positivity, and it's a slippery slope, because I absolutely don't think that you should, make fun of or cackle at people, that have weight issues. But at the same time, it's literally unhealthy. I mean, if you get COVID, you're literally more likely to die. All of your organs, your heart, your lungs all work harder and shorten your life because they're working harder when you,
if Lizzo was sitting there smoking cigarettes and then got up and talked about how I'm a smoker, I'm proud to be a smoker, you should be a smoker too, you should celebrate smoking, I think most people would say, whoa, smoking's really bad for you. And obesity is similar in what it does to the body as being detrimental. I just think it's a bad message. And I wondered if she at any point looked at Adele and said, wow, look at what Adele has done.
In no way, shape, or form is that why I don't like Lizzo, just for the record. I just don't like her. I just don't like her music.
Although I will tell you what, from a DJ perspective, and I feel like there's been a lot of talk the last few years about DJs in all realms, nightclubs, wedding DJs, mobile DJs, that there's been so little dance pop music that's danceable, pop music that you can play out. And Lizzo, part of her speech, she alluded to the fact that like she made a conscious decision that she wanted to make, in essence, like upbeat, perky dance music,
the right tempo.
Even though at that time nobody was doing it. And she's like, I'm gonna do this. I believe in it. I love, still probably my favorite Lizzo song is Juice, which I know is not quite as popular as Truth Hurts or Good as Hell, but I love Juice. And just credit to her too from the DJ community. Thanks to Lizzo for, and thanks to Beyonce this year too for putting out music at a good danceable tempo.
Sure, absolutely, agreed. Yep, 1,000% agree with that.
And my comments are strictly because I want her around longer, and I understand that being healthier would help that. That's all. I'm not body shaming or fat shaming at all. It's no controversy whatsoever that obesity leads to bad health, and so we could all just do a better job staying in shape. That's all it. Right, my computer is literally about to die. So,
and I've had these guys on hold for 6 minutes on my other call.
Dave,
I love you guys.
It was a pleasure having you on, Dave.
Yes,
as always.
Thank
you. Joe, love you, my friend. See you in a couple weeks out in Vegas.
See you soon. Thanks, everybody.
Peace, everybody. Thanks for tuning in.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening to the PHDJ podcast with Mike Walter and Joe Bunn. We'll see you on the next episode.